J. Cole just allegedly deleted his entire album, The Fall Off, gone. Drake and Kendrick's beef turned his feature list into a war zone, and now the whole project's back to square one. 2 superstars, 1 hard drive, 0 chill. This is absolutely insane. For 24 months, The Fall Off was hyped as Cole's victory lap, the album that caps off his legacy before he disappears into professor mode, the retirement project, the magnum opus. Fans waited, pre-orders loaded, features locked in. Overnight, that headline flipped. Reports say the entire LP got red-lit, rewritten, scrapped, and sent back to the drawing board. Why? Because friendships turned into battlefields, because Drake and Kendrick went nuclear, and Cole stuck in the crossfire with a feature list that aged like milk. Legacy project? More like delegacy project. The whole narrative is twisting. Let me break down how this rumor started spreading like wildfire. Patient Zero was Mal from the new Rory and Mal podcast. December 30th, 2025. He casually drops this bomb on air. Quote, Drake was on it, Kendrick was on it, now Cole got to do the whole album over. Just like that. No disclaimer, no hesitation. He said it like it was common knowledge in the industry. And the internet exploded. Within 30 minutes, Complex picked it up. Headlines screaming reportedly like a legal safe word. Hot New Hip Hop copy-pasted the story in under an hour. MSN amplified it. Hip Hop Wired ran their version. Every major hip-hop outlet suddenly covering this alleged catastrophe. But here's the kicker. 0 confirmation from Dreamville. Nothing from Cole's camp. Not a tweet, not a statement, not even a cryptic Instagram story. Silence. So technically, this is still gossip, but gossip with a blue-check heartbeat. Gossip that's got momentum. Now, for anyone who doesn't know, Mal isn't just some random podcaster throwing theories at the wall. He's been plugged into the industry for years. He's got relationships. He's got sources. When he says something, people listen. But that doesn't mean it's gospel. It just means it's believable enough to trend. And trend it did. Within hours, Twitter was ablaze. Fans dissecting every word. Some defending Cole, some clowning him, some connecting dots that may not even exist. The algorithm ate it up. Engagement went through the roof. Think about it. This isn't just drama. This is the perfect storm of speculation. You've got 3 of the biggest names in rap tangled up in one story. You've got mystery. You've got conflict. You've got betrayal undertones. It's a Netflix series waiting to happen. But let's keep it real. Until Dreamville speaks, until Ibrahim Ahmad steps in front of a camera, until Cole himself addresses it, this is all smoke. Thick, billowing, attention-grabbing smoke, but smoke nonetheless. And honestly, the lack of denial is almost louder than the rumor itself, because in today's internet age, silence gets interpreted as confirmation. Fans online started pulling receipts, digging through old interviews, rewatching podcast clips, zooming in on body language. They turned into full-blown investigators, analyzing every pause, every word choice, every exhale. Some swear Mal smirked when he said it, like he knew he was dropping a nuke. Others claim his co-host looked uncomfortable, like they weren't supposed to go there yet. Frame by frame, people dissected that moment, and the deeper they dug, the more convinced they became. One Reddit thread hit 15,000 upvotes in 6 hours. The top comment? This explains why Cole's been so quiet. Another said he's been in the studio re-recording his life. Memes flooded timelines, gifs of people deleting files, jokes about Control-Alt-Delete, dark humor about artistic breakdowns. But underneath all the jokes, a real question lingered. What if it's true? What if Cole really did scrap the whole thing? What does that mean for his legacy, for the fans who waited, for the culture? And that's the power of this rumor. It's not just gossip, it's an existential crisis wrapped in a headline. It's the fear that your favorite artist's masterpiece might never see the light, that the album you pre-ordered in your heart got shelved indefinitely. That's the emotional weight driving this story forward. That's why it won't die, not until we get answers. Now let's get into the motive, because this is where everything starts clicking into place like a tragic puzzle. To understand why Cole would allegedly nuke his own album, you gotta rewind the timeline. Let's start at the beginning. October 2023. Drake drops For All the Dogs. On it, a track called First Person Shooter featuring J. Cole. The song is a celebration, a victory lap. Drake and Cole trading bars about being the best. The chemistry is undeniable. Fans call it a bromance. The Big Three narrative is alive and well. Drake, Kendrick, Cole, the holy trinity of modern rap. Untouchable, respected, at peace. That was the vibe. That was the energy Cole was riding when he locked in features for The Fall Off. He had Drake on a track, he had Kendrick on another, maybe even both on the same song, depending on which rumors you believe. It was supposed to be the ultimate cosign, the ultimate statement.
Look, we're all kings. We can all win. That was the concept. That was the message. But then March 2024 happened. Kendrick Lamar drops Like That with Future and Metro Boomin. And he doesn't just take shots, he launches a full-scale missile strike. He dismantles the Big Three concept. Says there's no Big Three, it's just Big Me. Collateral damage? J.COLE. Because even though the main target was Drake, Cole got caught in the blast radius. The respect he thought was mutual? Questioned. The friendship he thought was solid? Fractured. And the internet? Ruthless. Memes everywhere, jokes about Cole being the third wheel, the sidekick, the forgotten one. It was brutal. Then April 7, 2024, Cole responds. He drops 7-minute drill on his Might Delete Later project. It's aggressive. It's aimed at Kendrick. He goes at K-Dot's discography, calls albums overrated, throws shots. For about 48 hours, fans are hyped. Cole finally snapped. He's in the war. He's defending his name. But then, Cole pulls the plug. April 9th, 2 days later, Dreamville Fest. Cole apologizes on stage, says the disc didn't sit right with his spirit, says he's removing it from streaming. And he does. 7-minute drill gets scrubbed from DSPs. The song is gone. The beef from Cole's side is over. He taps out. Now public opinion splits. Some respect the maturity, others call it soft. But here's what matters for this story. That moment changed everything. Because after Cole apologized, the beef between Drake and Kendrick escalated. Push-ups, tailor-made freestyle, euphoria, family matters, meet the grams, not like us. It became the most intense rap battle in a decade, and every single track that dropped made Cole's feature list more complicated. Think about it. You've got a Drake verse locked in, you've got a Kendrick verse locked in, but now they're destroying each other publicly. Every bar is a nuke, every song is a diss. Fans are picking sides, loyalties are tested, and you're J.COLE, sitting in the studio holding an album that's supposed to celebrate unity, while your two features are at war. That's the nightmare scenario. That's the motive. Because how do you release that project now? How do you put Drake and Kendrick on the same album when they won't even breathe the same air? When their fan bases are in full combat mode? When every line gets dissected for hidden shots? You can't. Or at least you can't without it becoming a circus, without it overshadowing your own artistry, without it turning your farewell album into a spectacle for all the wrong reasons. And if the rumors are true, that's exactly what Cole realized, that the album he spent 3 years crafting was now a liability, that the features meant to elevate it were now anchors dragging it down, that the concept was outdated before it even dropped. So what do? You start over. You scrap the features, you rewrite the narrative, you turn the heartbreak into the theme. And that's allegedly what's happening. The fall off isn't dead, it's being reborn. But the version we were supposed to get, that's gone forever. And honestly, that kind of creative devastation hits different. Imagine working on your magnum opus for years, pouring your soul into it, perfecting every detail, and then watching the foundation crumble because of forces outside your control. That's not just a setback, that's a gut punch. That's the kind of thing that makes artists question everything. And for Cole, a perfectionist to his core, it's easy to see why he'd rather delay and rebuild than release something compromised. But here's the part that really hits different. This isn't just about business. This isn't just about features and release dates. This is about artistic identity. This is about a man who spent his entire career being the peacemaker, the mature one, the guy who avoids drama, suddenly forced into chaos. J.COLE built his brand on introspection, on honesty, on being the guy who raps about real life without the theatrics. He's the anti-beef artist, the one who'd rather out-rap you than out-diss you. And that's why 7-minute drill felt so out of character. That's why he pulled it back, because it didn't align with who he is. But the damage was done. The moment he entered the beef, even briefly, he became part of the narrative. And when he exited, he got criticized for it. Damned if he does, damned if he doesn't. That's the emotional weight he's carrying. And now, if the rumors are true, he's sitting with an album that's a constant reminder of that turmoil. Every scrapped verse, every deleted feature, every rewritten concept, it's all a reflection of friendships fractured and plans destroyed. Studio engineers who've allegedly worked on the project whisper stories. They say Cole looked physically sick watching perfect verses turn into landmines, that he'd play back a track with Drake on the hook and Kendrick on the outro and just sit in silence because it was beautiful. It was exactly what he envisioned, but it was impossible to release. One anonymous engineer told a friend who told a blogger who posted on a forum that Cole said this was supposed to be the one, the album that ties everything together. Now it's just a graveyard of what could have been. Whether that quote is real or fabricated doesn't even matter at this point, because it captures the emotional reality, the tragedy of a project sabotaged by circumstances beyond your control. And for fans, that's heartbreaking too, because we've been waiting, we've been hyped, we've been imagining what the fall-off would sound like, what it would mean, how it would cement Cole's legacy. And now there's this lingering fear that we'll never get the version we were promised, that the original fall-off, the one with the dream features and the grand concept, is just a myth, a legend that lives only in leaked snippets and Reddit theories. That's the emotional layer. That's the human side of this story. It's not just industry drama, it's creative heartbreak. And that's expensive therapy. Now, let's dig even deeper, because the podcast rumor wasn't the only clue. Fans online been working like full-blown detectives, and they've uncovered some wild patterns. First, the Instagram story purge. Multiple engineers and producers who were tagged in posts with the hashtag #TheFalloff quietly deleted their stories. Not archived, deleted. One producer had a story from March 2024 showing a mixing board with the caption, "Late Nights for the Culture, #TheFalloff, #Dreamville." That post? Gone by May. Another engineer posted a photo of a studio session with Cole in the background, headphones on, notepad out, caption, "History in the making," also deleted. At first, fans thought nothing of it. Old stories expire, people clean up their feeds. But when you start connecting the dots, when you realize multiple people tied to the project all scrubbed their posts around the same time, it starts looking suspicious, like someone sent a memo, like the project got put on ice and everyone was told to erase the trail. Then there's the videographer situation. Cole hired a videographer back in early 2024 to shoot a behind-the-scenes documentary series for the fall-off. The plan was to release it alongside the album, give fans an inside look at the creative process, show the vulnerability, the grind, the artistry. That videographer posted about the project in February, said it was the biggest opportunity of their career. By June, they posted a vague message. Sometimes the best projects are the ones that never see the light. Growth in the darkness. No mention of Cole, no mention of Dreamville, but fans connected it immediately. That documentary? Canceled. No rescheduled date, no explanation, just gone. And that videographer hasn't posted about any major projects since, like they signed an NDA and disappeared into the void. Then there's the merch. Dreamville dropped a summer collection in July 2024, limited run, hoodies, tees, hats, and on one of the shirts, the slogan read, "Start over somewhere." At first, fans thought it was just motivational, inspirational, the kind of phrase that looks good on a shirt. But in hindsight, knowing what we know now, that phrase hits different. Start over somewhere. Like a subliminal message, like Cole telling us something without telling us. Whether it was intentional or coincidence, we'll never know, but the internet latched onto it. Memes of that shirt with captions like, "Cole been warning us," and "the merch knew before we did," flooded timelines. It became a symbol, a piece of evidence in the case of the missing album. And let's talk about the studio activity. Multiple sources, some credible, some sketchy, reported unusual patterns. One Raleigh bartender tweeted in August that they spotted J.COLE at 2 a.m., sitting alone in a booth, writing in a moleskin notebook like it owed him money. The tweet got 5,000 likes before it was deleted 30 minutes later. Fans screenshotted it, archived it, analyzed it. Why was it deleted? Did someone reach out? Did the bartender get spooked? Or was it just clout chasing that got too much attention? We don't know, but it adds to the mystery. Another unverified story involves an Uber driver who claims they chauffeured Ibrahim Hamad, president of Dreamville, in September. According to the driver, Hamad was on the phone the entire ride and at one point barked, "Third round of mixes, man, third round. We can't keep doing this." No receipt, no proof, just a story posted on a random hip-hop forum. But fans ate it up because it fits the narrative. Third round of mixes implies rework, implies indecision, implies a project in flux. And when you combine all these scattered pieces, the deleted posts, the canceled documentary, the cryptic merch, the late-night writing sessions, the frustrated phone calls, a picture starts forming. It's not definitive, it's not proof, but it's compelling. It's the kind of circumstantial evidence that keeps the rumor alive, that makes people believe there's fire behind the smoke. And that's the power of modern fan culture. We don't need official confirmation anymore. We build the story ourselves. We connect the dots. We archive the evidence. We create the narrative. And once that narrative gains traction, it becomes its own reality. Whether Cole scrapped the album or not almost doesn't matter,
because the idea that he did is now part of his story. It's part of the fall-off's mythology. And that's something he'll have to address eventually, either by dropping the album and proving everyone wrong, or by confirming the rumors and explaining what happened. But until then, the speculation continues. And honestly, the mystery might be more valuable than the truth, because it keeps people talking, keeps people invested, keeps the anticipation building. And when the fall-off finally does drop, whenever that is, the backstory will make it even more legendary. Now, this whole situation gets even crazier when you realize the ripple effects, because it's not just about Cole, it's about the entire culture. Let's talk about the rumored deluxe drama. One of the wildest, unverified stories floating around involves a scrapped track that allegedly had Drake on the hook, Kendrick on the outro, and Cole holding down the verses, the ultimate Big Three collaboration. The song that was supposed to be the centerpiece of the album, the moment that proved they could all coexist. According to one source, a manager close to the situation said that when the beef escalated, both Drake and Kendrick's teams threatened to pull their verses, not just from that track, but from the entire album. They reportedly told Dreamville that if Cole kept their features, they'd hold their own albums hostage, they'd delay releases, they'd create chaos, basically mutually assured destruction. Now, is that true? We have zero confirmation. It sounds almost too dramatic to be real. But in the context of how intense the beef got, how personal it became, how much money and ego was on the line, it's not impossible. And if that's even remotely close to what happened, it explains everything. Why Cole would scrap the project, why he'd start over, why he'd go silent. Because he was caught between two forces he couldn't control, and rather than compromise his vision or pick a side, he chose option 3, delete and rebuild. Then there's the Raleigh bartender story I mentioned earlier, but let's expand on that. According to screenshots of the deleted tweet, the bartender said Cole looked exhausted but focused, that he was writing so intensely he didn't even touch his drink, that he filled page after page without stopping. One fan replied to the tweet before it got deleted, asking if the bartender saw what he was writing. The bartender responded, couldn't see the words, but the energy was heavy, like he was purging something. That response is what made the tweet go viral, because purging something is such a vivid, emotional description. It implies pain, implies processing trauma, implies turning heartbreak into art. And that's the Cole we know. That's the artist who makes albums like For Your Eyes Only in the off-season. He channels real life into music. So if the rumors are true, if he really did scrap the fall-off, the next version will be infused with all this turmoil, all this disappointment, all this reflection. And honestly, that might make it better, because the best art comes from struggle, from conflict, from overcoming. And this situation is the ultimate creative conflict. Then there's the producer whispers. One producer who allegedly worked on early sessions posted a cryptic tweet in October. Sometimes the best albums are the ones that never drop, the ones that stay perfect in the vault. Immediately, fans connected it to Cole.
The tweet stayed up for 2 days, then got deleted. No explanation. But the damage was done, because that statement is haunting. The idea that the original fall-off might be perfect but also unreleasable is tragic. It's the hip-hop equivalent of a lost masterpiece, like if Picasso painted his best work and then burned it. We'll never know if it was truly great. We'll only have the legend. And maybe that's the point. Maybe the original fall-off becomes this mythical project that fans talk about for decades. Did you hear the leaked snippets? Do you think it was really that good? What if Cole drops it as a surprise in 10 years? That kind of mystery builds legacy. It builds intrigue. And in a culture obsessed with leaks and unreleased music, it makes Cole even more enigmatic. But let's keep it real. All of this is speculation until Cole or Dreamville confirms something. Until we get an official statement, a release date, or an album in our hands, we're just connecting dots that might not even be part of the same picture. But that's the game now. That's how modern music fandom works. We speculate, we theorize, we build narratives. And sometimes those narratives become more powerful than the truth because they capture what we feel, what we fear, what we hope. And this story is still unfolding with way bigger implications than just one album. What we're seeing here is how rap beef can now crash entire release calendars. Think about the precedent this sets for 2026 and beyond. If it's true that Cole scrapped his album because of Drake and Kendrick's war, that means features are no longer just creative collaborations. They're liabilities, they're risks, they're potential PR disasters waiting to happen. Labels might start adding clauses to contracts. No public disses during the feature clearance window. All parties must maintain neutral relations until album release. Lawyers getting involved in rap beef? That's the future we're heading toward. And honestly, it makes sense, because these aren't just artists anymore. They're brands. They're corporations. A bad collaboration can cost millions. It can tank an album rollout. It can damage relationships with streaming platforms, sponsors, media outlets. The stakes are too high to leave it to chance. But here's the flip side. This also proves that the Big Three concept is dead, completely. Kendrick killed it on Like That, and the aftermath buried it. There is no more umbrella where Drake, Kendrick, and Cole all coexist peacefully. The throne isn't big enough for three. The respect isn't mutual anymore, and each camp needs their own weatherman, their own strategy, their own identity. For Cole, that might actually be liberating, because for years he's been compared to Drake and Kendrick, ranked against them, measured by their standards. But if he's forced to stand alone, if he can't rely on their cosigns or their features, he has to define himself on his own terms, and that pressure might produce his best work yet. Then there's the fan culture element. This whole situation shows how powerful speculation has become, how rumors can dominate the conversation, how a single podcast comment can spiral into weeks of content. Artists used to control the narrative. They'd announce an album, drop a single, do press runs. But now, fans control it. We create the theories, we find the clues, we build the hype. And artists either play along or get swept up in it. Cole's silence in this situation is interesting because he's not denying anything, he's not confirming anything. He's just letting the rumor breathe. And that might be intentional, because the longer we speculate, the more invested we become. And when the album finally drops, all this backstory makes it an event, a cultural moment, not just a release. So in a weird way, the chaos might be the marketing. So let's game out the scenarios. Best case, Cole flips this trauma into the theme. He makes the album about ego, friendship, betrayal, and growth, about how he almost lost everything chasing perfection, about how the beef forced him to confront his own identity, and he drops a classic, an album that's even better because of the struggle. That's the redemption arc. That's the story fans want, because we love comeback narratives. We love artists who turn pain into power, and Cole has the skill to do it. The introspection, the honesty, the bars. If anyone can make this situation into a masterpiece, it's him. Worst case, the perfectionist spiral continues. He keeps reworking, keeps second-guessing, keeps delaying, and the fall-off becomes hip-hop's Chinese Democracy, the album that took so long it became a joke, that finally dropped to shrugs instead of celebration, that missed its cultural moment. That's the nightmare scenario, because timing matters in music. An album that would have been a classic in 2024 might feel dated in 2027. The sound evolves, the culture shifts, and if Cole waits too long, he risks irrelevance. Then there's the chaos case. The original versions leak. Someone in the studio, someone with access, drops the tracks as a mysterious mixtape. No official release, no statements, just files appearing online. And they chart. They blow up. Fans go insane. The leaked version becomes more iconic than the official version ever could. The internet breaks, lawyers scramble, and Cole's caught in a situation where his unreleased music is bigger than his released music. That's the wild card, the outcome nobody's predicting but everyone secretly hopes for, because leaks are exciting. They feel forbidden, they feel raw, and in a culture obsessed with authenticity, raw often wins. But regardless of which scenario plays out, one thing's certain. The fall-off, whenever it drops, in whatever form, will be dissected. Every bar analyzed, every feature questioned, every production choice debated. This album has too much backstory now, too much mythology. It can't just be good, it has to be great. It has to justify the weight, the silence, the rumors, the chaos. And that's the heavy burden. That's the weight Cole's carrying. But if anyone can handle it, it's him. So here's where we're at. Did J.COLE really shred button his entire life's work, or is this just another podcast fairy tale surfing the algorithm for clicks? We don't know. Not for sure. Not yet. But what we do know is that the silence is loud, the clues are stacking, the story is compelling, and whether it's true or not, it's already part of the fall-off's legacy. This album, whenever it drops, will carry all this weight, all this speculation, all this drama. And honestly, that might make it even more legendary. Because the best albums have great backstories, they have context, they have meaning beyond the music, and the fall-off already has that. It's the album that survived a rap civil war, the album that allegedly got deleted and rebuilt, the album that tested Cole's resolve, his artistry, his identity. That's a story, that's a narrative, that's something people will remember. So what do you think? Drop your theory in the comments. Do you believe the rumors? Do you think Cole really scrapped the album because of the beef, or is this all just noise? Do you think the original Fall Off was better, or will the new version be a masterpiece? And when do you think it's actually dropping? 2026, 2027, or is it already done and we're just waiting for the rollout? Let me know. And make sure you smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications because this story is far from over. More details will drop, more clues will surface, more insiders will talk. And when the Fall Off finally lands, we're gonna fact check every single bar, every reference, every theme, because truth hits harder, but rumors hit faster. And this rumor just hit like a freight train. Stay locked, stay ready, and remember, in the internet age, the story behind the music is sometimes bigger than the music itself. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.